For the first print, I just lay down the stencil on the shirt. And I'm just eyeballing all this. And this one, you know, isn't a production shirt really, it's just a trial shirt, but you still want it to look nice. So, now as you see, I've got the stencil placed on the shirt. It's centered, or as centered as I'm going to get it. And then I just place my screen on top, like so. This is, the brand isn't really super important, it's Speedball, but it's fabric screen printing ink. It's important to use fabric screen printing ink because this ink is designed to set and bind with the fabric using heat at the end, but we're not going to worry about that yet. One thing to remember now is to have ink awareness. That means you always know if there's ink on your fingers. Now, I usually overshoot where I'm actually printing because the ink is what is going to hold the stencil to the screen. Okay. Now I call this loading the screen, and that's just getting ink in the appropriate places. Now I haven't actually done the stroke yet that will push the ink through the shirt. There's probably a little bit on the shirt right now, but I haven't done like the full pressure yet. So you just do one stroke across, just like that. Now I'm going to set this here. Then I look at my hands, we're looking good. I lift. There's our first Sucker Punch Pictures design. Now I'm lining this up, and I'm doing it all by eyeball right now. And I'm basing it mostly on the width of the collar, so I'm kind of trying to balance that out on the shirt. And I usually go a little bit high on purpose. That's where I like placement of design on the chest. Okay. Check the hands, looking good. Good. Yep. Okay, so now it's cleanup time. I'm going to scrape off this screen here, all the extra ink, and set that over here. Getting ready to wash these. When you're taking the screen off, you can start to see more clearly how the decisions you made and where to make your breaks is more impactful. So I'm going to kind of peel it from this angle. You'll be able to see where it's sticking to the screen in some cases. If my blocks were too large, or if there weren't enough breaks, it wouldn't have peeled so cleanly. Let's see, putting this down, and then I've got to make sure that this is laying flat so it'll dry flat. And then now we can reuse the stencil again. Now it's time to go wash the screen and the squeegee and the spoon, and we're done. So one final thing to remember is that you have to iron each one of these shirts for 5 minutes, as hot as you can get the iron without scorching it. And I think that's about 350 to 400 degrees is about where you want it to be. So you just iron it, and that sets the ink into the shirt. So yeah, that's it. And I usually stack them up too, so I'll iron them all at once, one at a time, but I iron them all at once. So I'll put a cloth on the top of the first shirt, and then there's also a cloth between the first shirt and the shirt right underneath it, so that none of the it doesn't transfer up onto the shirt above it. I've had that happen. So I usually have 2 cloths when if I'm doing a bunch at once. But if you're just doing one, you can just put 1 cloth on top and iron it.